Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Gonzo Ewok channel. With me, the disappointed Ewok.
And me, the crestfallen, slightly guilty Gonzo.
And this is, and I'm going to really find it hard to get behind it, but let's give it a go.
We've got to...
Geordie Space Program!
Possibly the last Geordie Space Program we'll see for some time.
Now, if you watched the last episode, which was sort of an episode, sort of wasn't, entitled, what was it,
Gonzo's Challenge
Run.
It wasn't supposed to be an episode, it was supposed to be me proving you wrong, and then something that I could just do, and then revert, and then we'd be back to where we were before I tried my little challenge run.
That's not that bad, 101,000.
I thought it was worse. I thought we had about 20 grand.
You were making it seem a lot worse. Well, we can work with 101,000. Yeah, we can cope with that. That's cool.
We're struggling. We're all going to struggle. I spent a lot last time. I destroyed the launch pad. I destroyed 2 rockets that were worth about 380 each. So what's that? That's best part of, 800? Nearly 900 grand. Basically, I spent the best part of $1 million. We had about 1.1 million, and now we've got 0.1 million. So, in fact, you weren't here for the most expensive 10 minutes of Geordie Space Program's career so far.
I got to watch it, which was eye-opening and exciting and disappointing and rage-building and...
Yeah.
I mean, the missus was there with me, and she will tell you that I was not a happy bunny.
Yeah, I was.
It was when you started and you said, "Oh yeah, the only problem with this rocket is that it didn't have enough fuel," and I was sitting there thinking, "Oh my god, the rocket explodes." He doesn't remember, but the rocket explodes.
It happens. It happens. Also, aside from putting out the apologies of my shameful display. In the last episode, we should put out apologies because actually at time of recording we're recording on the Easter bank holiday and we didn't put up a video this weekend.
Yeah, we're already late.
Yeah, so you were out gigging down in Teesside.
That's right.
I was at a stag do, and I've written off most of the weekend. I'm only just feeling a bit better now on bank holiday Monday. Good enough to record anyway. So I know I'd taken to our Facebook group at about 2 o'clock in the morning when I was hammered. And said, "Oh yes, this is don't worry, we'll have an episode up. I'll be hungover, but we'll be fine." And I really wasn't.
Oh, this looks quite nice on your funky PC.
Of course it does.
I was just making sure we are recording there. Right, we need to get to work here.
We need some cash. We need some prestige.
We need a desperate cash infusion. Unfortunately, the contracts are pretty sort of far afield. We've got like Eve and June contracts and stuff like that. Now, if I cancel them, it'll automatically repopulate with more contracts.
This is true.
Temperature scales of the moon, no, we don't like that one because you've got to jump between the different sectors.
Yeah.
We could do the polar orbit of the moon. It's only worth 82,000. Plant a flag on Eve. Now that would get us back towards where we need to be, but we probably haven't got enough to buy an Eve ship.
Aye.
A rescue mission from around Kerbin.
It's only worth about 50 grand.
I know. Shall I start cancelling missions and see what else comes
I
up?
think we're going to have to, and of course this is the paradox that we've got in that we need cash, and to get cash the game's going to give we quite ambitious missions that'll pay well, but then we haven't really got the cash to do those, so we're probably going to have to scale things back and see what we can do.
Satellite in a specific orbit of Kerbin, that's worth 130,000.
It's not bad. I mean, what does it mean by a specific orbit though?
Well, it means we have to put it in an orbit that it has defined for us.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, what sort of orbit is it?
That orbit.
I can't imagine the practical application of having something in that kind of orbit. However,
it's worth money. That's what's practical about it.
The other thing I'll point out, I was speaking to Garry. Garry was out at the stag do as well. After he clipped us around the head several times for me performance in the last video and shouted at us for a bit, he said that maybe we should revisit some of the initiatives, and said maybe there's some initiatives we can take as a bit of a cash grab. Maybe sacrifice some science or some reputation for cash.
That's a good point.
I think they cost money up front though to do possibly, but I thought it's not a bad idea. We've got a fundraising campaign on the go at the minute, which takes 50% of the reputation gain. It gives us 8 funds for every reputation point it takes from.
So we are already exploiting that.
Is there anything else that we can do where it's like trade science for booty? Is there anything up there?
No, you can only have one active fundraising campaign going at the minute, I think. So we can't use that one because we're using that one.
I know we can. Look, if we Oh no, it's not going to let, where is it?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the best one we can do. So we've already actually got that fundraising campaign in place. There's no way to like increase the amount we're doing it by or anything like that, like a higher commitment.
But as you say, it costs up front. I'm a little bit worried around that. Build a new orbital station around Kerbin, antenna, a docking port, power, and a research lab and facility. That's going to be...
it's a beast. Would need some... that's heavy. That's putting heavy gear up.
Plant flag on Minmus is worth 87.5. That's worth 130. Needs a materials bay. That's a specific orbit. It's an unmanned probe. Should we do that?
I think do that, and then maybe, depending on how quickly we'll get that done, we could maybe look at doing another one, either this episode or the next one. Hopefully that'll give us a little bit more cash to maybe get things back on an even keel. That being said, and it's something I pointed out in the last video as well, that KSP's, you know, that 1.0 release is looming. You pointed out to us when we were chatting the other day.
It's in experimentals now, which basically means it's gone to an external group of quality testers that Squad use from the
I'm assuming picked from that community.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good sign that they're doing tests, and if they say that it's all right, it'll be getting pushed out soon.
So it could be anywhere from like a week or two to a month, depending on how much testing they want to do.
It makes it, from a recording perspective, it makes it difficult, because of course it means if we record 6 episodes off the bat and have like a marathon session, we end up with 6 weeks worth of videos, but then the new ones come out, and of course we want to make sure that as soon as that new one comes out, we can have videos ready for you guys to watch. We can talk about how it's changed and get my new career off. I'm open to suggestions of a name for the new series as well, because of course we've had Series 1, Series 2, the Abandoned mini-series, and this is the Next Generation. I would hope the Next Generation would have been the best, if I'm honest. I mean, in as far as Star Trek canon goes, that's the best series. But I'm thinking, do we do something like a Deep Space Nine, or a Voyager, or an Enterprise or something next, if we're going to keep up the same naming convention?
If we're going to keep up the theme, we don't necessarily have to keep up the theme. We can call it whatever anybody wants us to call it.
Well,
I'm hoping that the next series is going to be the best. I think
it probably won't, though, because they're going to bring in other elements to the game that we're going to have to get used to, and we're already struggling. And if we're then suddenly
we were doing all right until you got your bloody hands on it, mate.
That aside, you can't hold that against us forever.
I can. I think you'll find that I can.
We need it. We need an amnesty, is what we need. But what I was going to say there is that, you know, with the aerodynamics engine improvements and those other bits and pieces coming in, it is going to put one on the back foot. Maybe we would do the next one as Deep Space Nine, which is a bit of a kind of like a wet fart, and then come back with Voyager. I don't know.
No, I'm thinking the next series is going to be the last ever reboot, and they will just keep it going and going and going and going.
Oh yeah, but that being said, I'm pretty sure that the team are planning like further development of the game after the 1.0 release as well.
But we wouldn't be rebooting after that.
No, I wouldn't think so.
The only reason I want to reboot is because we missed out a lot in terms of the early gameplay that didn't exist at the point.
We already had fully upgraded facilities and all the rest going on, so it would be nice to kind of start from scratch. But you know, I appreciate that people have been watching our videos in some cases for over a year now, and they've watched us reboot the series a few times. Personally, I would like to see a little bit more diversity on my channel as well, and look at playing a few other different games as well. So, as well as giving us some suggestions about naming for the 1.0 version of Kerbal Space Program, that we'll do as Geordie Space Program. Any kind of games or anything like that you would like to see we'll play, by all means we can have a bit of a look at. Other thing on that front that's worth pointing out is that a couple of weeks ago I went out to buy some crockery with my wife at the Metro Centre, and I came back with a PS4, just completely on impulse.
I can't believe you impulse bought a PS4.
Well,
for shame.
There's a great YouTuber, if you haven't seen him before, you should check him out. He's called Big Red NY. He's fantastic. I think it was Dean Cutty turned us on to him. But basically he plays things like Major League Baseball, he plays UFC, he plays WWE, but he sort of like role plays it. So he plays like career modes in these games, but he's a funny guy. He's this big New Yorker.
You've shown me his videos. I like them.
He's really, really good. And to be honest, I'd been watching a lot of them, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say, I'm going to steal his ideas and do it on YouTube, but I just like the idea of playing some of those games and
do you think that rocket's good enough to get into orbit? And I mean, that's probably not going to be too heavy. It only costs 18,000. We could launch this 5 times.
Do you think it'll have enough to be able to push out into that orbit?
There's an engine on the bottom of there.
Like a bus engine.
Yeah,
But I suppose if it's out
that's late.
and it's gone fast, give it a go. I mean, it's sensible if we can do this on the cheap. By all means, I think give it a go. We'll bung it up. Need to give it a name though.
Let me quickly. You continue talking while I finish this up.
Alright. Well, yeah, what I was going to say there about Big Red and White, if you haven't seen these videos, give them a watch, but that was a major contributing factor. I'd been toying with the idea since January, not long after actually buying the ridiculously powerful PC. I was thinking, you know what? There wasn't anything that was coming out on the PS4 that was really grabbing me attention. There hasn't really been that many games that came out. I noticed Bloodborne's came out. I picked that up. The package that I got came with Bloodborne and The Order. Neither of which I've tried. I also picked up WWE and UFC, and I think I've mentioned before, I do like the odd sports game. I'm not really a sporty person, but I do like some of those AAA sports games every now and again. And I thought, you know what? Why not? I might as well get on and do it. Also, though, I should probably mention that, was it last weekend? Or was it even this weekend? Was it just a few days ago? You then followed suit and you went out and bought yourself a one.
Yeah, I may have done that.
So
it was Bloodborne sealed it for me. Massive fan of the Souls games. I always knew I'd probably end up buying a next-gen console at some point down the line. I was just waiting for that must-have exclusive, because up until now, everything I wanted, I could get on the PC.
Aye.
And then Bloodborne comes out, and it's just changed the game for me. And yeah, I had to get it, and that means I had to buy a PC. A PS4.
Well, strangely enough, actually, the Dark Souls games, I really appreciate what they are, but I'm not somebody that really gets on particularly well with them. But Bloodborne came with a machine, and I thought, you know what, maybe this is a chance to jump in. But from what I'm hearing, Bloodborne's harder again, even from like experienced Dark Souls players.
It is difficult. It may not be, I don't know, it may not be the most difficult, but I think it's certainly more difficult than Dark Souls 2. I think Dark Souls 2 wasn't quite as hard as the first Dark Souls or Demon Souls.
Aye.
But Bloodborne... that needs to go down there.
Aye.
Bloodborne is tough. I've been struggling with it, and I've played all the other games to completion, plus a couple of new game plus runs.
Aye. Well, I think it's one I'll probably look at some point. But what I was going to say, the upshot of this is we both now have PS4s. Don't have capture cards, and by me understanding, if we want to do stuff for YouTube, capture card might be quite useful.
Well, using the share centres, you can... Oh, I really should have strutted them up. But using the share centre, you can record up to 15-minute videos.
What the...
Staging was a bit wonky there.
You nearly did what I did in the first attempt at the challenge run.
As I say, you can record up to 15-minute videos, and you can then link them back to back. Now, there's two things I'd say about that. First of all, it's perfect for games like UFC, WWE, like you've got.
Put up a fight or two,
we can put up a fight or two. But secondly, having that hard-coded in time limit might be exactly what we need to actually behave ourselves and not have ridiculous
these rambling videos.
I'm
sure
hours-long videos.
This one will probably prove the point that we've got very little time control. Even when we haven't done it for a while, but we used to have like a stopwatch or a timer going, so we're keeping an eye.
And I'd immediately forget to check the time.
Or you pick up the phone and it's like 45 minutes and counting, and you're halfway through a mission, and just throw the phone to one side and carry on anyway.
Sticky keys.
Always sticky keys. Always sticky keys. I'm not really feeling this.
No, it's burned up a lot of its fuel, hasn't it?
Aye. It's doing okay though. I mean, we're getting some speed. Getting up to a decent height. By the time these kick off, we'll be ready to turn. If we've got enough engines, if these 800 tanks that we've got in this next stage... oh, that was close. But if these have got enough fuel to get into orbit, which is a bit touch and go, might be alright, you know. We'll see how we'll get on.
Yeah, I think we'll be alright, actually.
It's not too bad. I mean, there's quite a bit of fuel there with those 800s. The thing is, it's been so long since we've used these smaller parts. Everything we've been building has been around a core of like 2.5 to 3 metre parts.
Yeah, I mean, this is a small craft. But I forget, it's not like the olden days where we had money to burn.
Yeah, well, I've burnt the money. I've burnt the nest egg.
Exactly.
Is what I've done.
And this isn't a bad little rocket, I don't think.
Well, we'll see. It hasn't got much poke to it.
But it doesn't need to, because that's quite light.
Well, we shall see. It's slowly creeping its way up. It's burning through a fair bit of fuel. I'm not sure if we're going to have enough to do with circularisation here.
I think we are, because I'm coming at it at quite a wide angle.
Oh well.
I think we'll be fine with this. We may even get to push out a little bit with this. It's a nice little design. I like the little crossover on there.
Well, I suppose the other thing that's worth pointing out, going back to the PS4 debate, again, is another question to the audience here as well. Is that something you'd want to watch, or is that something you'd like to see would do? Because at the end of the day, it's something we'll probably do anyway for fun. But if we're going to record it, we obviously want to know that there's people that would enjoy watching that, you know. So let me know if it's something that you'd like to see, and it will be a bit of a departure. When we kind of first started our channel, the idea was really to focus on sort of indie games, and of course moving into PS4, it means we're kind of moving towards like AAA territory.
And you know what, I don't mind doing that personally. I shied away from it, not least because of the copyright issues, but you know, we don't advertise on our channel anymore. The only reason we advertised on the channel was, I mean, we made like 17 cents out of the advert. We advertised on the channel because it meant you come up a little bit higher in the search rankings.
We don't do this for cash, do we? Maybe that'll change if we end up with like 100,000 subscribers and we'll become money holes, but we do it because we enjoy messing around and we enjoy people getting back to it and saying we suck at games. I mean, that's the long and short of it.
And we do.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I did it. I did this so it was a something that I do with like my best mate, and when other people are getting involved and enjoying it and carrying on as well, that's why you do it, you know. It's nothing to do with cash. Yeah, some of the videos I think were monetized, but that was done purely because as you said, it helps with the search rankings early days,
which we didn't really stick with for that long, really. But I'd definitely be up for doing a couple of like UFC and WWE games with you. You would kick my ass at them because I've got absolutely no skill at that
that's
kind
half
of
the
thing.
fun. I've put my face in UFC. I've put my face in WWE. I've got a mixed martial artist in UFC. Looks a bit like me. He's got my Viking beard, but I've made his look bigger and better than mine. Mine's still work in progress. But he's got nice big long beard, and he chins everybody. He's not very good at the wrestling or the takedowns or the ground game or anything. He just walks in and just like breaks somebody's nose and ends fights. But he's got a fairly good likeness to us. Me character in WWE, I really, really like. He again looks a little bit like me, as close as I could get him. But the other thing is he's got an NE63 tattoo on his shoulder. He has Snug Life wrote in Old English writing across his belly.
Explain why he has an NE63 for the audience.
Because NE63 is the postcode of Asherton, which is our respective hometowns. So I've often said one day I will get myself an NE63 tattoo, possibly in Old English, like a thug across my belly. I'm not that kind of way inclined, I just quite like the idea of it. So yes, so he has Snug Life instead of Thug Life wrote across his belly, because that suits us better. I'm not really much of a thug, but I do enjoy a good cuddle. That's my unique take on things. I like a cuddle. And then he also has Afghanistan wrote across his arse.
Afghanistan.
Lovely. Just ticking all those negative stereotypes of our hometown and region. Why not? Why wouldn't you? So that's his unique take on it, is that he's an angry Northumbrian who's went to the WWE to kick the hell out of a bunch of posers. And he does very canny. But I'm not very good at WWE. I'm better at UFC. Although I still reckon I haven't went online with it yet, and if I did, I'd probably get the shit kicked out of us. So I'm still in that practicing phase. But yeah, by all means, what we'll do is we'll have maybe a few games just to get you up to speed, so at least we can put up like a good show and a good fight. Because there's actually, for it just being basically like a fighting game, there's a lot of controls to remember. Because obviously you've got all the stand up and the clinch stuff, and then the cage stuff, and there's a lot kind of going on. Actually, for it being like quite a simple sort of fighting game, there's quite a good level of controls that you've got, and things can change a lot, and it really changes up the way that you can actually fight your battles as well. So I want to make sure that it's not just like we load up and then I just walk in and just like smack you 3 times and kill you.
Are you sure that's not what you want? I think you'd enjoy that.
I do, but I'll
do
that.
When on the Gang Beast video that we put up the other day, the initial bit where we were trying to learn the controls, I decided to keep that in. I could have cut that out, but I decided to keep it in. And I love the way that you worked out your controls, and I was trying to work out mine, but I couldn't because you were just walking over and smacking me in the face and knocking me out and dragging me around the ring.
I just learned how to punch stuff, and you're asking us not to go and punch things. Oh, look, this is how you punch. Oh, well, I'll go and try that out.
This has taken a little while because we dipped a little bit low down.
Aye.
So it's limiting how fast I can warp. But we'll get there soon.
No, I think we'll be alright. We've still got a little bit of fuel there. Not sure if we'll have enough for the burn.
Yeah, but I'm going to use it to get as far into the burn as possible.
It should kind of help out. It's a bit kind of touch and go. Again, not to build up that false sense of attention here, but we're really trying to do this kind of properly, I suppose, like efficiently and with as little cost as possible.
Yeah, and not waste a huge amount of cash getting the small ship in orbit, because we need that cash,
and we don't have much.
We really do.
So not doing too bad at all, really. Nice view of the desert there.
So what other games on the PS4 are you interested in? I've got Bloodborne and Dark Souls 2.
I've
already played Dark Souls 2, but this is the edition that comes with all the DLC. And I got it with it, and I thought, you know what, I'd quite like to start again. I do have it on the PC. I always had problems with connections on the PC, although I've heard with the release of the new edition they have tweaked the way the connections work. But I'm hoping that the PS4 won't suffer from that sort of issues.
Well, I mean, you've got Sony's sort of backing for the online servers. That being said, you had Sony's backing for H1Z1 as well, which apparently wasn't particularly great when it comes to having a multiplayer online game which doesn't have great netcode. But it's when I picked it up, as I said, purely the main thoughts that I had were about UFC and WWE, so I bought those specifically to play. But things like, it sounds terrible, but basically just like I hold myself to EA. I like the Madden games, I like the NBA games, I like playing sort of sports and American sports, FIFA. Not being much of a sporty person, I get my fix from playing those on consoles. And it's something about them that, for the most part, that don't translate particularly well in PCs. Hey, we're getting there, man. So in any event, Order, it looks pretty from what I've seen, but I'm not particularly that interested in it. It's probably something I'll play through once and then trade in, just so I can say where I've played it. So,
it looks distinctly average, and it's getting distinctly average reception.
And
how can I sort that out? And it's in with a lot of bundles at the minute. I can't help but feel that Sony are pushing it into bundles to try and get the sales up, because it's not going to be the blockbuster exclusive that they were hoping for. Yeah,
I think that's part of the case. And there was a huge hype machine around it as well. And with it being kind of one of the early announced games as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to work out. I'm just going to leave that.
I haven't got a chuffing clue what's happening here. So hang on, we'll fly out. We'll get an encounter with something. Is that the moon?
That's on the way back.
Right.
And it's not going to happen, because when we get here, we're going to push out and avoid it. Like that, you see.
And that's not a bad burn, really. That's only 16 seconds. But there's probably a slightly more efficient path we can take with it. That's not bad.
I'm just getting it sorted out.
Oh, so. That's not bad at all.
It's not bad at all. And then
we can fine tune.
Then we can sort our playing out. Once we're done with that. So that's a 15-second burn. We'll probably not get 15 seconds out of these engines. Goodbye, Kerbin.
There's the sunset, and we saw the light shining through the planet.
And it's going to come up on the other side.
It's like shining a torch on one side of my ears. That was nice. That was very cinematic. You're not usually one for the cinematics. If there's one thing that I would say about my terrible performance in the last one, I got some good camera angles. I am a natural photographer and get some good camera angles of what's going on.
Well, there's the moon. We're getting quite close to it.
We don't want to be close to it. We want to be nowhere near that.
All 3, 2, 1, and don't overshoot. Hey, that was quite good.
We've got some time here.
On the new series, I think we will put some mods on. That's been one of the things that people have said you should use mods, and it was one of the things we said when we started this. We're not going to use mods. Now, I don't want anything that makes it easier. I don't want to mech jeb it and use like autopilot or anything like that.
A lot of people use it just because it gives you feedback, more detailed feedback on things like your delta V, your thrust away, and what have you. But
I'd like to know a little bit about that, so we can actually plan a bit more. But one thing I really do want is the Kerbal alarm clock, because we're constantly bloody missing things. And I know the new version's going to have... Oop, I'm too late for the node there. I know the new version's going to have a sort of thing that pulls you out of time warp when you approach your manoeuvre node. But I'd like to set things going and then do other missions while they're going.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And the Kerbal alarm clock would let us do that by letting us know when we need to come back to a certain mission that's already underway.
Now, I mean, for me personally, a lot of the mods that I'd be thinking about is things like the beautification mod. I'd like to see more to do with like atmospheres, and it's one of those things. I really wanted to do that when I had the old computer, but I just couldn't handle it. The old computer like really wasn't powerful at all. Whereas this one, I think, would still probably take a little bit of tweaking and fine tuning, but I think we'd be able to handle the mods really, really well. And we'd probably get a few on there. So that's something that we'll be looking at. And again, anybody who uses mods, give us some suggestions. Under those parameters, we're not looking for stuff that lets us cheat. We're not looking for things that... Like, don't get us wrong, I'm not averse to saying, oh, here's some good part mods, but not where you end up with parts that are, like, ridiculously overpowered. But if there's ones that give a little few more options when it comes to building stuff that looks interesting, that would be cool. Things that make the game look prettier. Again, any suggestions you've got, let me know. It's a good time really where we can sort of wipe the slate clean and start from scratch again. So
we're nearly there, mate, and we haven't actually separated the satellite.
That's not bad. We've done very canny.
So it's gone up as one thing. That's not bad actually.
No.
That means that could potentially be used to, get around the Mun or Minmus or whatnot. I like our little satellite network that we've got going, to be honest.
Aye. It's a shame most of it's completely pointless.
It's not. It's there for when we get the missions, get science data from around X.
Aye, but we're not getting... We've had one of those so far. We had one in the video, we'll put them up.
If we really wanted to get money, we'd just keep cancelling contracts until we got them and spam them.
Aye, but it doesn't make for particularly interesting videos, does
it? It doesn't, and it is a bit cheaty.
Aye.
I mean, we do them when they come up.
Aye, but actually actively going out there and fishing for them seems a little bit...
And manipulating the game so that they turn up is cheating a bit. I mean, I've got no qualms with cancelling a few missions so we get doable ones, but to specifically seek out
spent
one
45 minutes just cancelling stuff until like the one comes up that gives us 50 grand. But, I mean, how is this orbit looking? Cause you're still doing a little bit more fine-tuning.
Just doing the correction burn to get us on the right plane.
Nice. That's pretty good. Aye, I think that's... that looks as though it's there.
You'd think, but we haven't got it yet.
Just zoom out. We're a little bit short. Yeah, like up towards the apoapsis. It looks as though...
We're not that far out, really. But what's with that?
Yeah, so we need to go to the periapsis and push that apoapsis out a little touch, I think. Just a touch.
Pull that back in.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry, I was getting
22.8 and that's 21.5. Oh, you see, I wouldn't think that pulls out a lot more than I would expect it to.
I would say hop back around over towards where you can see the red line where we've got the periapsis for the red and the blue line where they're merging, and just...
Hang on, I'm going to get the ascending node back to where it needs to be.
Alright.
And then you're right, I will pop around. Oh, it's overshot.
Well, we've still got oodles of fuel to do this as well. We've still got that final stage.
Yeah, I'm still using the initial stage.
Yeah. So I just line up the nodes and then see what we're going to do. There, that's close enough. That's spot on.
Right, so we're going to have to warp all the way around here.
Aye, and then just burn retro a little bit, just to bring that orbit down a touch.
And that'll take 11 days.
Well, that's fine. We've got nothing but time. Certainly got nothing but cash. No, the other one. We have no cash.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So 11 days of zipping around Kerbin.
The astronauts will be feeding on rations bought with food stamps. That's what's going to be happening here.
Oh, that's cool, isn't it? You can see the Mun zipping around Kerbin as we zip around Kerbin.
Aye. It's quite nice.
Keep an eye on the clock because I don't want to overshoot. And
right.
I'm watching the camera and the cinematics.
I'm leaning in quite closely. Another game that I've been playing. I bought it a year ago and played it for maybe about 20 hours, and I've just put it back onto my machine yesterday. Was Silent Hunter 5, the old Space in 4 hours, 3 hours coming up, 3 hours and 50. Yeah, Silent Hunter 5.
Submarine.
Yeah, really, really good. The fifth one gets kind of like lambasted because it's like graphically pretty, but people were like, "Oh, it's not a pure submarine sim." Coming down to 50 minutes. But you can make it so you can put mods on, and if you ramp the difficulty up, you've got to sit down and like tabulate the trajectories of your torpedoes and what have you. But you can just play it on like a sort of like an easy to medium difficulty, which is much easier to work out.
Bloody hell! Did you see the time that I stopped that?
Aye.
I got it right on the nose.
Yeah, we want it slightly before the nose, though.
Not really. Not when you're this distance out. It doesn't make that much.
Aye, but that's really, really good fun. So I've been playing around with that a little bit as well. So I played an hour this morning before you came across and we started doing my recording.
I was working this morning on a bloody bank holiday.
Aye. Well, that's...
Right, that should be
nature of the
it.
job. That is it.
Maintain stability for 10 seconds.
Right, just count it. Just wait until that little tick comes up in the top right. There we go, we've got some cash.
We've got
Nice.
some cash. Oh, look at that, we've still got the whole thing.
Should we get some science and send it back? I'm not sure if we'll probably have science from this distance, I would imagine.
Probably. We'll get 0.4 if we transmit that. Let's not.
Can we send this anywhere else now we've got the cash? Can we just get rid of that stage and then maybe send it into like a solar orbit or something like that and get some...
I wouldn't really want to, because all I've put on is the materials bay, and you lose a lot when you transmit from the materials bay.
Oh well, I was just thinking.
I think we should just scrap this now, because there's no point of it being out there.
Aye. Self-destruct. Well, Ewok, thank you very much for coming along and cleaning up my my havoc and my debris from the last episodes.
So let's
stupidity.
See where the cash stands now. We had 100,000. We've now got 236, just shy of $250,000.
Just doubled it.
Oh, you could have at least cleared up all the bloody debris. Right, let's get rid of that.
What was that? That was a satellite.
Yeah, that was the one that was we just launched. We don't need it anymore, so I got rid of it.
I thought it was one of our money makers.
No. Speaking of money makers, how long have we been recording now? We've been recording for
about
31 minutes. 31 minutes.
It's not bad. I think that's probably a good place to call it quits. But before we do, let's see what we're going to do next.
Well, that's not worth very much. Plant flag on the Mun's worth 72,000.
Aye.
Test the stack separator, that's worth 132,000, and we just have to orbit Kerbin with it. Go on, let's quickly do that. We can do that in minutes, and it's worth 132,000.
In minutes, you say?
In minutes.
In minutes?
In minutes.
Are you sure we can do it in minutes?
Absolutely. Right, accept the contract.
You're getting greedy. You're getting greedy.
What's the stack separator? Was that one of the big ones?
I don't know. The authority in which you've clicked on these buttons suggests to us that... Oh, hang on, we've tested that one before.
So that's that. Well, we know this craft gets into orbit.
Yeah.
So why don't we just stick it on there like that?
I mean, that looks hideous and defies all natural law, but it'll probably work.
So we're just going to reuse this craft and use that stack separator there.
We sure don't want struts because it looks as though things are floating.
It does, but they're not really. We know they're not really. It's fine.
Alright. Well, what sort of orbit do we need? Just an orbit?
It's between 85 and 100,000.
Oh, well, we can do that. Yeah, job's a good one.
Job's a good one. Right, let's get this launched. You notice I fixed the staging issue from the beginning there.
I did. Well, you're saying fixed. What you've done is you've made it the way that I like to play it. That's not usually the way that you tend to do it.
No, I do separate my Sepratron, the stages at the far right here, my Sepratron and engine stages, I tend to separate. Not the initial stage. I don't like to separate that.
It just doesn't look right. I can see daylight through the separator. Broad as day.
That is the right separator I've got there. Yes, it is. That's fine.
Get up into some sort of orbit. Oh well, ladies and gents, you started watching this video. You thought we were done. We're getting more cash.
Exactly. You see, you thought you'd ruined it, but you neglected how awesome I am.
I'm thinking once 1.0 hits, you know the Kerbal shorts, we haven't done some of them for a while. I might start doing those once 1.0 hits because
I'm going to do them as well.
I need to get back into the swing of the game because, well, you saw from my last performance, and I think I said in the video, that's a bit of my debris off in the corner there, I think. Yeah, I need to get back into the swing of playing things. It's been about 6 months since I have.
I think one of the things we're going to do is...
Weird angle. Don't like that weird angle.
It's fine, don't worry about it. It was like that before.
It's going to flip. It's going to flip.
It's not. I'm fully in control.
Why didn't we put struts on the top?
Because you're an anus.
Hey! What? Look. Right. In previous episodes and previous series, I don't like the way that comes off. I do not like the way that comes off. But in previous series, I've been the first to criticise. I admit that. I'll put my hands up. I'm the first to criticise. I had 10 moments of madness, and now I'm never hearing the end of it. And we need to just, as I said before, about 20 minutes ago, we need an amnesty. We need to accept mistakes were made. Mistakes were made, but we're living with it. We're getting things back on an even keel. I'm not touching the buttons. Quite happy just to sit back and talk shite. Quite happy to do that. But the recrimination must stop. It's not in the spirit of Geordie's space programme.
Oh, look. Down at the bottom there on that island, there's the old Kerbal Space Centre.
It's quite a good view distance, really, isn't it?
It is. They improved the view distance on Beta than ever. Quite a bit. Initially, I thought there were some texturing issues, which they seem to have resolved now, where the up-close textures suffered.
Aye.
But the far-away textures were looking particularly pretty. But now it seems to be the best of both worlds.
Everybody likes the best of both worlds.
86-100 to 103. So let's get that up to about 86-100. That stands to reason as being where we need to be.
We're getting there.
There we go.
Nice.
Up a little bit, because it's going to drop off, isn't it?
Yeah, that's alright. I think we should manage alright. So then we just need to get off and then just pop the stack separator off.
We'll get it up about 90. Lovely jubbly.
So, we're probably going to be slightly closer to half a mil by the time we're done then.
Absolutely, mate. So that's 82 on that side, 90 on that side. No, let's get it. Nice
I was convinced we had
89 and 90. Lovely.
I was convinced we had less cash than this, though. I was sure I couldn't even bring myself to actually look at the figures after I'd done what I did last
Well, it was
time.
handy that you cut it off on the video, so this was actually the first time I've got to see how bad a condition you left things in.
I mean, it was bad. It was £1 million down for, I think 12 minutes of insanity.
Yeah.
But
it goes to prove how quickly things can fall apart.
well, I thought that we had about 20 grand left. I was convinced this episode was just going to be loaded up, and you go, "What the fuck have you done?"
Well, how much
And
was
then
that?
we ended-
How much was that? This
That
shit
was
worth?
18 grand.
18 to build. So even if
we
you
could
had
have
20
done
grand, we could have
Aye.
done it.
But we wouldn't have probably had so much confidence in thinking, "Oh well, we can try it." It would have been literally, "This
It
is
would-
all of
yeah.
our cash, all
Yeah.
of our eggs are going into space, and nobody likes a space egg." See, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at coming up with gibberish. That's my role in
I miss the
Geordie
days when I
Space
would
Programme.
just pick something random that you said and use that as the name for the episode.
You know, it's completely a touch of vanity on my part, but I think we need to do that again.
I don't know. I feel like it's better having it a little bit more descriptive so that people know what they're getting in for, especially if it's the first time they've come to watch an episode, or if
I'm sorry.
if they're looking for something.
If I go into YouTube and I type in, "I want to watch a Kerbal Space Program video," and I'll see things like rocket to Juno, I'll see things like moon landing, I'll see things like space planes, and then I see one called "It's like some sort of fucking space egg," I would go, "That's the one for me." Might just be more of a comment on my mental state.
Test
It
separator now.
might be more of a case of my mental state, but oof, well, that shot off.
Why
didn't it?
did that not go?
Do we not need to test it? Maybe was there not something where we could right click and test it?
No. That should have went because all the conditions were ticked off when I fired it.
Have we not?
We're orbiting Kerbin at the right height. As far as I'm concerned, that should have went off.
That's quite annoying.
That is
There
quite
wasn't
annoying.
anything in the small print. Maybe hop back down. You know when I said we should just end it here, we've done all right. Something has went horribly tits up. Have a look at this. See if there was any small print. See if it says that we needed to have something up here with it. It was definitely the right
It
part.
was definitely the right part, yeah, because it was highlighted.
Well, it wouldn't be a Geordie Space Program episode without something going horribly wrong, would it? So I suppose we've kind of done that.
Activate the part through the staging sequence. I didn't activate it through the staging sequence.
You got click happy with you, right?
I got click happy. Right.
You know
What we're
what?
gonna do is we're gonna launch again. We're gonna cut the bit out the video where we actually launch it and get there. So we're just gonna launch a ship now.
Have a little segue.
Fade to black, and then we'll come back. See you in a minute. Hello, we're back. Yep, we took another ship, exactly the same ship, got it in orbit. Apparently we are meeting the conditions necessary, so I'm going to try again, and this time I'm going to go through the staging procedure to get this done.
Luckily,
Hopefully it should work.
nothing exploded on the way up, which we were concerned about because we can't revert. But in any event, do you want to see if we can get somewhere a bit lighter? This will probably be quite dark on YouTube, so yeah, that'll be nice.
So let's warp around.
Aye, just for the sake of,
Until
a
we
minute
get
or
the
so,
sun.
get onto the bright side. Everybody likes to see it nice and
Now
bright.
our orbit does dip below the required 86, so we need to make sure we don't get round too far.
Yeah, it's slowly dropping, but here comes the sun.
Here comes dawn.
Right, there.
And let's...
It's kind of close. Don't screw it up again. Could aim it at the planet and fire it, sort of like a bit of a mass driver. Not powerful enough to then plummet down to the planet.
Well, there's the first bit. So when I activate this stack separator against the backdrop of the sun,
that's quite pretty.
this should work.
Should, but we're running out of time.
It worked.
Nice.
Fantastic. Okay, that's that done. Brilliant. More money, more money, more money, more money.
Yep, that's on. That's certainly a thing. So I think
204 science as well. We got decent science. So we're up to 334,000. I'm going to get rid of just the debris from this mission. So you can see there's actually the first one that we launched up. So
aye,
we'll get rid of that.
So
and there's the 2 bits from this.
We've posed quite a few questions in this vid. So what I'm going to try and do, hopefully, is remember to put these down in the comments. And if you're watching this video, if you're a regular or you're a first time viewer, we appreciate you watching. If you've got any kind of feedback for those questions will hopefully help you direct it. They're the things that we're really keen of considering at the minute. So we've thought about what we're going to call a new episode, maybe some of the goals. We've mentioned maybe looking into recording stuff on the PS4 and diversifying a little bit as well. There's the potential there for that. So there's quite a few bits and pieces that we've got going on. And by all means, if you want to give us some thoughts, you can do it here on YouTube or we're on Twitter at Gonzo Ewok. You can find we're there. If you search for Gonzo Ewok on Facebook, we've got a community page there. You can like that, and we're fairly active on those as well.
We try and respond to messages.
Yeah, like usually I check the Twitter every day, and Facebook we tend to put up mainly daft pictures tend to appear on Facebook quite a bit, but there you are.
Quite a bit of the this is like a big chunk of the Solar Explorer which you just left there and didn't recover.
Well, there we are.
Worth 18,200.
I was that
and with 3 bloody crew members in it.
I was that dejected. I couldn't bring myself to do anything, frankly.
Well, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've rambled on enough, and I do hope you have enjoyed this episode.
Looks as though we're in a little bit of a better position, so hopefully we shall see you in the next video. As always, if you've enjoyed it, you can leave a like, you can leave a comment, you can subscribe if you haven't done already, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.